MMPC 006 Organizational Dynamics, Block 1, Organizational Dynamics and Overview. We'll cover the two units in this. First is Understanding of Organizational Dynamics, which is Unit 1, and Unit 2, the Group Dynamics. This is very interesting to know what is the organizational dynamics. Organizational dynamics can be referred to as a process by which the resources get leveraged and strengthened continuously, eventually modifying how employees work and function in a nutshell. How the organization functions to promote improved work practices, human relationships, and indulging in agility and overall learning practices. So when we think about the organizational dynamics, it is not only a one-time process, it is a continuous process which not only strengthens the individuals but also the organization and the work practices with the agile working conditions and overall learning practices within the organization. Organizational dynamics refers to the organizational design. It requires a lot of coordination and information processing. Organizational design is all about when we take all the smaller tasks or the micro tasks and club together to form and coordinate the more significant undertaking. Coordination refers to an essential element that seeks to remove uncertainty by appropriately exchanging and collating information. Information processing is an important element when designing and formulating for an organization takes overview. So these are the three basic elements of the organizational dynamics which makes the organization as the effective organization on the whole. So when we really look in further deep down to the components of organizational design, so organizational design is it refers to the effectiveness, efficiency and viability. Effectiveness is when the goals get accomplished. Efficiency is when the goals are met with the effective utilization or the optimum utilization of resources, and viability is the existence for a relatively long period. Information processing view of organizational dynamics is it's a revolution which is responsible for development regarding the telephone, faxes or internet. The new phase of automation, it is evident from the 90s and affecting low organizational operate. It requires a precise planning and communication, which are very essential part of the organizational diagnosis. And the communication and planning is directly linked with the customer interaction and supplies which are catered on a daily basis. The uncertainty makes it difficult for the organization to look for the fixed design. The cost of information based processing has been reduced. It has led to the learner organization and can sustain themselves with less inventory and employees. Investing in the technological side of organizational, it paves into the returns for the management and the employees. So overall, when we say the information processing view of organizational dynamics, it is not only a diagnostic the problem or identifying the issues, but it is very important where the communication and planning and coordination really link together and leads to the regular interaction and working for the management of the employees. There is new information processing when we see from the agile organization. This is VDT, that is Virtual Design Team. Virtual Design Team is a model where individuals as separate entities, they analyze, communicate and make decisions, which is quoted and reported by Jean Levitt in 1996. Each individual differs in the skills, the information channels. So therefore, a decentralized structure was adopted as a primary information processing model. There needs to be congruence between the information processing capacity and demand, which was quoted by Thompson in 2000. There are certain factors which affects the organizational dynamics. First is inside the organization. The second is managerial boundaries of the organization, and third is the outside of the organization. When we say inside of the organization, inside of the organizations refers to the employees which are working in an organization which is within the boundaries of an how they behave, how they work, and everything falls within the boundaries of an organization. Whereas the managerial boundary of the organizations refers to and mark the distinction between what is inside the organization and what is outside the organization. So it is in line with the information processing view. Limits can be drawn and demarked according to the organizational context, their objectives, their purpose, and their need. Outside the organization is when the the secondary data is collected, used to of about any product or about any services. In this case, the managerial boundaries go beyond the legal limit, that is beyond the outside the organization, beyond the boundaries of an organization. They work how effectively an organization can move further for the effect to be as an effective organization. There are certain models when we talk about the diagnosis. The first is contingency diagnosis. Contingency diagnosis is a concept that primarily help to achieve the goals by diversing structures. When we say diversing structures, it is made up of the size, the technology, the management style, the climate. Climate here means the organization climate or organization culture, the strategy, and the environmental factors. All these are linked with the goals, mission, and vision of the organization. Whether it is then the goals and vision and missions are within the that is defined by the boundaries. The boundaries are mainly refers and directly impact the environment, which is internal or external environment of an organization, the size of an organization, and the technology of an organization, where the goals and missions are directly related with the environment, management style, strategy, and the organization climate. And further, these all are leads to the that actually makes the organization structure. As seen in the picture, the figure which is context of the organization operate. Here this figure is given by the Managing Change by Bruns in 2005, which relates with the contingency diagnosis. Second is multi-contingency diagnosis. When we say multi-contingency diagnosis, it includes the strategic factors, it includes the structural configuration. On one hand, it is when we say strategic factors, it relates with the style, the management and leadership style, the organization climate or the organization culture, the size of an organization, the capabilities of the people in the organization, the environment, the technology, and the strategy. Whereas when we say structural contingencies, structural configuration, that relates with the organizational configurations, that relates with the organization complexities, the formalization, centralization, incentives, and coordination and control. All these are leads to the fit criteria. Fit criteria is what we seen as a components in before slides as effectiveness, efficiency, and viability. This is a multi-contingency diagnosis which was given by Burnham and Obel in 2004 as an organizational diagnosis and design. Then comes the Duncan's knowledge that depicts that if and then rules, which was given by Burton or Obel in 2004. Here the situations are given. If something happens, then what can be the how the organization works, whether it is in functional or mixed functional, or whether the organization structure has to be decentralized or maybe mixed decentralized. There are certain conditions when we say if and then. It is given in the tabular form in this slide. For example, if the environmental complexity is simple and environmental change is state, then the organization structure is functional. If we see down the line in the table, for example, if the environment complexity is complex and environmental segmentation is presented and environmental changes is dynamic, then the organization structure is mixed decentralized. So there are basic 6 conditions on which it is decided whether the organization structure is functional, mixed functional, decentralized or mixed decentralized, or how when it can be functional and when it can be mixed functional. So this is all depends on the conditions of the environmental complexity, and on the other hand is about the environmental segmentation, which is decided on these basis. Let's see what are the organizational diagnostic models. Organization diagnostic models refers to a very important and very known framework of which is known as 7S framework of McKinsey for organizational diagnosis. McKinsey 7S framework gives the 7S, that is there are the 3 soft skills and 3 hard skills, which is shared, which is there is a common one skill, that is shared vision, which is given in this diagram in centralized, whereas the 3 hard skills are known to be as the strategy, structure and systems, whereas the soft skills refers to the skills, staff and style. When we say hard skill refers to the technological or the strategical changes, the organization structure, which makes the overall organization system, whereas the soft skills refers to the people of an organization, where we refers to their skills, we refer to the people, we refers to the style, which is again interrelated. And the common S is shared vision of an organization, which is aligned with the employees of an organization. Second model is J. Galbraith star model. J. Galbraith star model have the 4 dimensions, which is given in the star model. This star model is given by J. Galbraith, which refers to the different components, which refers to the different determinants where the organizational diagnosis can be happen. Then is Weisberg's 6-box model. 6-box model given as 6 components, where all these 6 determinants are given, which makes the model on the whole to find out the organizational dynamics, which is given as the rewards, which is given as the leadership, which is also relates with the strategy, relates with how the people really work, how the people really propose. So the purpose of an organization, the reinstatement or the relationship of the people within an organization, it is seen that these are all related. There are certain the elements which are inside. These are 6 inside model, 6 inside elements, whereas the outside the organization, because according to Weisberg, all whatever the diagnosis happen to be, that is happen to be within an organization, which revolves around the purpose, the leaders, the structure, the rewards of an organization and the people within an organization. Then next model is transformational model. Transformational model directly relates how the environmental factors refers to the or directly relates with the results. So every factor has some results on that, where there are certain elements which was given in the previous model of Weierspert 6 model, which is within an organization, whereas the environmental environment refers to the organization, the outside environment. The Weierspert 6 box model is is a medium of between the environment and the outside environment and the result. All the 6 more elements are again the strategy, the culture, the leadership, systems, the core purpose and the structure of an organization. Congruence model. Congruence model is again a transformation process which was given by Natler and Cushman in 1980. Here it is seen that there are some inputs, and for every input there is the output. So when we say inputs refers to the environmental resources or the the history of an organization, how the organization work in past years, and what are the strategy they were following, what was the system and the processes they followed. So on the basis of that, the transformation happened within an organization, which relates with the task, which relates with the informal and the formal arrangements of an organization, and of course it relates with the individual, which is within an organization, within an internal which relates to which actually works on the transformation process, which was strategized on the basis of the inputs given to an organization from environmental resources and history. So the task, the informal arrangements or the formal organization arrangements and the individuals, these all are interrelated, because transformation happened to be within an organization, among people, among the task, among the process and among the system within an organization, and it leads to the organization goal or maybe the individual goals, which is the output of an organization of the transformation process. Now the output again because whatever be the outputs comes after the transformation, the feedback is given and it again serve as an input for the further strategy. It also refers to, it also gives a feedback, or it also gives a to strategize the internal system which relates to the task, the people of an organization and the organizational elements. So this is a cycle which goes on from input to output. Within that there is a transformation process, and it completes after the feedback is given to the strategic team to work further for the further organizational efficiency. Then there is Brook-Litwin Organizational Change Framework, which was given in 2012 and quoted in Organization Change by Theory and Practice. Here the entire change framework was designed on the basis of the individual factors, the organizational factors, the strategic factors. So the inputs are all these factors which is inclined, the organizational factors or the strategic factors relates which was given by the organization, which was designed and which was known to be as where the transformation is required, what can be the the gaps or on the strategic point of view, and the organizational factors relates to where it was when it relates with the execution and the initiations of the strategic goals or the strategic factors, and on the basis of the individual factors are affected by many things which are on an individual basis. It can be goals, it can be individual performances, it can be, but all these are very interrelated, all these are impacted each other. Then it because unless that has to be aligned, the strategy factors has to be aligned with the organizational factors, and that has to be aligned with the individual factors. So these it is very important to understand their interrelationship, how they actually work towards the change of an organization. This is a framework which is designed from internal factors and results to the output of an organization, the outcome of an organization for the impact on a performance, not only the organization but also the individuals. Then the next model is Holonomic enterprise model. Holonomic enterprise model refers directly to the enterprises, which is where we can see in this particular picture. This figure, EC refers to the execution control, CE refers to the the control execution, and E refers to the execution. So when we see these arrows where the EC, CE and E is given, this particular model refers not only to the enterprise on one hand with the resources, with the resources of different teams, the execution control team or the control execution, and then how the execution takes place. Whereas these, when we see on a micro level to the enterprises, on one particular team where the resources are mentioned and it is given, because these are the virtual clusters, and all these clusters combinedly make an enterprise. These clusters are driven by different teams or depends on their functional areas that overall create a Holonomic enterprise or the full enterprise model, where the different virtual teams are working, different virtual clusters are working on different modes, different functional areas with a different team. So these all are interrelated. These all are they have their own because these virtual teams run only when they are interrelated and can solve the purpose of an organization, the vision of an organization, which is aligned with the individual goals and vision. Then is flexible organization model. Flexible organization model is the main core elements are to protect the protect the core and disrupt at the edge. Because with the technological changes and with the rapid changes within a culture or within an economy and the enterprises, the organization, it is very important to disrupt at this edge, but it is equally important that it practice and protect the core. Second is unleash the network teams. Unleash the network team is very important because the people who are working within an organization, that needs to be there are certain cross-functional areas where the organizations work on sometimes in an autonomous teams which are organized and which are very specific to their goals, which are project based, and there are new type of different a flexible type of leadership is required with where we talk about the development of the skills of an people, or maybe the expertise in this dynamic. Third one is adopt a collaborative system mindset. Collaborative system mindset is all about when there is a network of people, the teams are required for the holistic understanding of connecting points. It is not about only doing a work, but how they are connected, how deep down they are involved in the or they are aligned with the goals. It is not only about the siloed functions, but have little use instead, or maybe use connections, because it is more important. Networking is equally important to create a collaborative system model where everybody works for not for them but for the organization, for the team, and it is a not just a team effort or not just a work done by the team, but it is a collaborative effort for the best efficiency. Then the final one is to create the conditions of for the flexible organization. So developing a common purpose is very important, that not only holds the team together, but also shared the culture, shared the mission and vision of an organization. It requires the new leaders with a dynamic mindset, with a flexible mindset, and where they're really looking for the holistic, follow the holistic approach of an organization, where it is not only the efficiency or it's all the purpose of an organization, but also the purpose of an individuals as well. The goals are aligned with the organization and the individuals. Then is McKinsey helix model. McKinsey helix model is it is very interrelated. It is like a spiral. It is seen in the picture that there is a blue lines which refers to the capabilities, and the black arrows or the lines are depicting the value creation management. So it is very important that the capabilities of an individual, or how the work has to be done, that should be interlinked, and that should be aligned with the value driven management, and where works get how the works can get done. So it this helix organization refers to not only the value creation, also refers to the capability, but also refers to the ethics, and also refers to the clear, equal and parallel accountability of the employees of an organization, and how the business objectives can be met with the value creations or the ethics, and the employees have the long career path, they have a proper succession planning, and the business objectives can met. So all these are very interrelated, where it is known to be as the best efficiency model, where everything is reliant, everything is interrelated, and everything is so closely knitted that they grow together, the organization and the employees. Let's see the organizational learning as a process of organizational dynamic. Organization learning is very important when we see as a process, when we see as a dynamic point of view. So building a learning organization is very important. Every organization need to strive to be distinct and relevant to gain a sustained competitive edge. There is need to improve the continuously demands to initiate desires to learn. For survival, it is imperative to be the most adaptive towards the change, because change is continuous, and change is happen to be with every advances which is coming within an organization. It is often an advantage to stay relevant and thrive when the ability to learn gets better. Providing easy one-stop solution is not always sustainable. So organization learning is very important, and it is a continuous improvement in a way of knowledge base of the organization is managed. It consists of 4 elements basically. First is knowledge acquisition, second is information distribution, third is information interpretation, and finally the organizational memory. So all these 4 elements creates the learning organization. Whereas there is another term which is organizational learning. Since the 1990s, Chris Egris has been writing about organization learning. So there is a very slight difference between the learning organization and organizational learning. There is it sometimes it is used as synonym, but when we see on a very deep down, so it is on a micro level, it is different, the learning organization and organization learning. Few studies are pointed on importance of organization learning about to achieve and competitive advantage. There is a rapid increase in the corporates in Japan. It is seen in years, and which makes the organization learning most potent force. So the pressures of rising technologies, the customers' demand, e-commerce, globalization, and finally the emphasis on the quality have forced organization to cope through learning aggressively. There is need to grasp not only the new knowledge and practical skills, but also to cultivate the capacity to learn all the essentials when it comes to gaining the competitive edge. To learn about the Japanese is to learn how they operate amidst in the rising competition. The ability with which they learn, adapt and move helps in achieving improvement in the overall function. Here the example is given of the Japan, where we have seen that they are not only focused on the on the capabilities, they work on the quality, they along with to cope up with the pressure of the technology and the rapid changes within the economy and the organizations. So knowledge management and organization learning are another term which needs to be studied along, and they get along very well. It is essential to reflect on the meanings to clarify what knowledge and learning imply. Knowledge, when we say, it is a crux of what all the individuals already know, and organization learning is when the entire learning, the processes, the systems get implemented and new knowledge base is created out of that. The whole process get renewed each time, every time whenever there is a changes, whenever there is technological advances, a new process gets executed, which results in increased value for the entire organization. So knowledge management is basically expanding the capacity and capability relating to the information, skills, creativity, so that the information becomes effective and efficient. The design of the knowledge management system includes altering the processing of data. So let's see what is difference, the basic difference of organization learning and a learning organization. Organization learning is a concept, whereas the learning organization refers to the particular type of organization in and itself, whereas organization learning as a concept is where the certain type of activity that takes place within an organization. Whether it is organization learning or learning organization, overall the learning is in this manner is a gradual process. It is not a quick or a shortcut. It is a slow and gradual process that systematically transforms itself regularly with the involvement of the employees of an organization. There are many schools of the thought that have written about organization learning and the range of disciplines which covers the psychology or the organization theories or sociology and even the cultural anthropology. So this is multidisciplinary, where the organization learning is not only the psychological or the management concept, it is a psychological, and it relates with the cultural anthropology and the sociology also. The fifth discipline that was given in 1990 by Senge, who masters the concept of all the 5 attributes which are need for the organization to become a learning organization. First is personal mastery. Personal mastery refers to the attitude which focus on the focus on the employees. That is how they reflects how they work on themselves, on their own capacity, on their own capability, how they upskill themselves. Second is mental models. Mental models are the beliefs and the way they are wired to perceive any situations, what the situation come and how it is perceived by the employees. Third one is shared vision. Shared vision reflects the ability to think about the futures and the with a different lens altogether, because here it provides a sufficient foundation to work towards a common direction and common goals. Fourth one is team learning. Team learning is a gradual transition towards attaining collective learning within an organization. It can be through some discussions or through some the dialogues which is given by the employees. It becomes crucial to focus on the collaborative learning. And finally, the fifth discipline which is given is the systems thinking. System thinking is it acts as a potent force that with all the other qualities. It is an holistic approach. It is where all the individuals, the employees' capacities and their capabilities come in together, and they interrelate to perform the task on a holistic manner. So these are the 5 disciplines. This fifth which is given, which is needed to become a learning organization. Now, what promotes the organizational learning? The organizational learning is it is not only the organization, related only to organization or related only to the employees who are working within an organization. It is a combined or effort which makes the structure, information system, human resource practices, organization culture and leadership, which combinedly makes the organization learning. For a better learning or to create or to foster the learning culture, the employees must be appropriately compensated. They need to be rewarded and timely appreciated on the for their efforts. That is best practices, because the human resources follows the proper knowledge and the management system which help better to acquire and share knowledge is all about the information structure, information system. The structure refers to the hierarchical setup or the job profiles and the job designs or the job descriptions which is given as per the roles of the employees, whereas the organization culture is not only about fostering dialogue or the creativity of an organization or the individual. It creates the organization values and aligns properly. The effective leadership is very important, which bring in line all the factors, because they are the strategic team. They are the leaders who promote the organization learning, because it is said that how the leaders behave, the team behaves like that. The leaders can lead and set an example for the employees. This is how the organization learning, combinedly the organization becomes the learning organization. Now, what are the approaches of organization learning, which is given by Provost and Mitchell in 1997? First, learning by strategy. Learning by strategy refers to when things are developed and to encourage the practical activities. Learning by structure, where the structures like matrices help better flow ideas and further build the organization learning. Learning by culture refers, which is given by Sengi, which is described as the shared value system has to be there. There has to be the collective process where to promote the organization learning. And finally, the learning key in the human resources. Here the training, the learning and development programs for the employees to cater and they can participate and they can support the learning on the whole. Now, because since we are talking about the organization dynamics, organization is formed with the people, formed with the teams, formed with the group. So it is very important to understand the group dynamics equally, because the group or the people creates the organization. Here the group is referred to as a social group, which has been used to designate many kinds of human aggregations. A group is made up of 2 or more individuals where they interact and independent, who can come together to achieve particular objectives or common goals. The group is 2 or more individuals which are connected with or by within a social relationship. This is reported by Foster in 2010. According to Ogburn and Imhoff, a group is where whenever 2 or more individuals come together and influence one another, they may be said to constitute, influence one another, and they may be said to as a constitute social group. let's see what are the characteristics of group. Every group have a common goal. Whenever more than two or more people come together, they have a common vision, common objective, common goal towards which they work to further. Structure. Their structure is aligned, their role is defined, and their interaction is equally important, because without interaction, without communication, it is very difficult for a group to sustain and to move for their set goal. The role has to be very well defined. The group, all the team members or the group members need to know their role, and what is the structure, whom will be reporting to whom, and how they work together towards their common goal. So these are the four characteristics which creates a group, which refers to the as a features of the group. Now there is another concept which is known as entity. Entity refers to the degree to which the group is perceived as a single, unified entity rather than just a collection of individuals. Because generally we see that wherever there are two or more people, they are known to be as a group. They are termed to be as group. But this concept gives us a clarity where we find that to what degree the group is perceived as a single entity, not as a that depends. There are different factors where the groups are high entity and appear more cohesive, structured and meaningful as a one unit. So these factors are: first is common goal, where they have a shared purpose or objectives. Second is interaction, how they interact, how frequently, and what is the how meaningful communication happens to be within the group members. Third is similarity. It is very important to understand whether they have the shared traits, beliefs, or the background. If they have shared traits, they are they have meaningful communication, then shared purpose. They have tend to have high intimacy along with the physical closeness or a frequent meeting, because more they meet, more they share the gaps or the problems they identified within that period. They come together and sit together to find the solution of that problem, or maybe the gap, they can fill the gap accordingly. So it is very important that the physical or the frequent meetings should be there, should be organized. Then is group structure. All the roles are defined, the norms are whether defined, or the leadership, because in absence of this, there is a group. This is a major cause of the the group conflicts. Then is perceived unity, how outside view the group's cohesiveness, how the other people outside the group, oh yes, this is one of the best group within an organization who work towards the shared goals. They have very similar traits, or they combinedly are moving towards the the common goal. They are meeting whenever very frequently. Whenever they sit together, they really are very cohesive, and they find the problems seeing others view also. So these all things, the interactions, the similarity, the proximity, the norms, all these make the one unit. And it is equally important how people outside the group see that group, whether how cohesive the group is. So in presence of this is the high intimacy, whereas in the absence of this is low intimacy within the group. So when we talk about the levels of group, it can be high, it can be moderate to high, moderate and the low. In presence of all these factors, it leads to the high primary group, which is for example known to be as a family, or the very very close, or the we can say best friends groups, where their traits are equal. They meet, they enjoy the things, they celebrate together. whereas moderate to high are seen as social groups, which are teams or maybe the organization groups, where of course if you see these factors, the goals are common, their interaction, or maybe in absence of in presence of all this, there is some maybe different views, because everybody comes from different background, so there, or maybe different beliefs, so there can be a bit of absence of any of these things, where the beliefs or the background, or maybe even the communication, or maybe even how they communicate, whether they are able to meet on a physically meetings, regular physical meetings or not. So in absence of little, that leads to be the moderate group, where in all of these, if factors are aligned, that is treated to be as a high level of group. Moderate is like, for example, in a clubs or in an organization, where we see they are associated for some particular project or particular goals, whereas the low activity level of groups are seen mainly in the age groups and the genders, which is characterized to be as a social categories. So here the levels of group are the primary group, social group, association group, and social categories. When we see from an organization point of view, moderate to high group is or the that leads, the second or third level leads to be from the organization point of view, where the teams comes together for some specific project or some specific goals. The colleagues come together, they communicate with each other, they solve the problems, they find out the solutions, they have some defined roles and defined norms of which is given by the strategic team, and they work together towards the common purpose. Now let's see what are the functions of group. According to McGrath in 1997, there are three primary school of thought which explains the group's nature and functions. First is system perspective. System perspective refers to the groups which are complex set of interdependent components which influence the members, their thoughts, their feelings, and their actions. The structural perspective examines how group create enduring patterns and consistencies in social settings, which not only includes the norms and roles but also regularize the patterning in the patterns are regularized in communication and influence. The third one is functional perspective. Functional perspective refers to where the groups to be the tools for people to achieve specific goals that require collaboration among many employees within the same team or the same functional area. Now all these groups, when we see the types of group in a generic manner, that can be primary group. Primary group are generally small, they are very close knitted. The example can be the family, the friends, the close or the peer groups within the groups, or maybe within an organization we see there are certain friends groups, so they are they share their personal things also, or that can be considered to be as a primary group. Social group is structured. They are where the people interact regularly and share the common interest. This is seen within the organization among the employees or maybe the sports team, because they are working with for a specific a purpose. Association group is like it is formed for some specific or organized group with specific purpose, specific goal, or maybe the project teams, the political parties or trade unions. So these are goal oriented, these are structured, and the membership may require some criterias. Here the rules and the leaderships are very which is very specific, very governed, and the functional is rather than personal relationship. Then fourth category is social category. Social category is, we can see within the age groups, when the similar age groups or the teenagers or the seniors comes together, these creates the, because their belief system or their background, their age, even their gender sometimes are similar, and it is a collection of individuals who share the common traits. It is not for some specific purpose, it is not for some specific goal, but they shared on the specific characteristic that creates the groups, and that is used for the classification of society. So these are the basic or the general categories of the groups. Now let's see what are the theories of group transformation. First is propinquity theory, which is most fundamental theory explaining affiliation is propinquity. This means that an individual affiliate with one another because of spatial or geographical proximity. In an organization, it is seen that the employees who work in the same area of the plant or office, or managers with offices, they are very close to one another, will probably form groups more than not physically located. The second is human theory, which is given by George Homans. Homans theory basically based on the interaction, the sentiment and the activity. The primary element of this theory is the interaction of the individuals who are involved. This theory means that the individuals share everyday activity on the basis of what they are doing, what is event or the action they are getting into, what is how they will be responding to that. Their behavior is very expressive on personal attitudes towards the other person. So the third is activity, which refers to any action against any stimuli. This have more interaction, and that develops attitude. Attitude can be positive or attitude can be negative. That is towards each other. This is the Homans theory, which is developed on which is based on not only the activities or actions what they are doing, the interactions and their sentiments, but here the primary is interaction, because when they interact, they the sentiments or the liking and disliking creates, and on the basis of liking and disliking, the activity or the action is taken. So here the primary element is, that is why primary element is interaction. Third is social exchange theory. Social exchange theory is given by Thibault and Kelly in 1959, where the people apply economic principles while evaluating relationships, consciously or unconsciously, conducting cost benefit analysis and comparing the alternatives. They try to maximize the rewards they obtain from relationship and minimize the cost. In social exchange, like economic exchange, people seek profits. They are disturbed when there is no equity in an exchange, or when where there are rewarded more or same cost incurred by the individuals. So these profits can be measured in short term or maybe in a cumulative manner. This value of cost and rewards are highly subjective. That depends on the organization, that depends on the culture of an organization, the people, the leadership team, and there are different factors which leads to all these costs and rewards. Third, then is social identity theory, which is given by Henry Tedgell. This theory suggests that individuals get a sense of identity and self-esteem based on their membership in salient groups. This is the nature of this here, the social identity group may be demographically, culturally or organizationally, that based on individuals and are motivated to contribute to the identity of the groups because of the sense of belongingness or self-worth or membership of the the group, how the group really work. So here when this is proposed, that stereotypes or maybe the people who are from the same background or same, they are based on normal cognitive processes. Here first is the difference between the group, which is called as in group. When we say us, it is a difference between the group. Then second is the similarity of things in the same group, which is called as out group, or maybe we we categorize them as them. We use the them word, that they are doing, or when we say the difference between the group, that us, that is in group. So the central hypothesis of social identity theory is that group members of the in group will seek to find negative aspects of on group, the out group, and thus enhance their self image, because here it is all about distinction between the in group and the out group, how the differences and the similarity of the things are defined to enhance the self image of the particular group. So there are three mental processes that involved in evaluating others as us, the in group or the out group, that are categorization, social identification, and social comparison, where they compare they compare each other, they identify each other with some specific categories or specific classification. So that is how the social identity theory works within the group. Then is Tuckman's group development theory, which is consists of 5 stages of the group development. First stage is forming, where the groups come together, where the individuals come together and they form the group based on the the identified traits or the qualification or categorization. Then is storming, when the individuals or the group members influence, or they are trying to work out that whether who is aligned or who is not aligned. Then is norming, where the group members shared a common perspective or common purpose, and the likingness or the friendships or the cohesiveness. Then fourth stage consists performing, when they actually perform, they work together, they execute towards the goal. And adjourning is when the group members leave the group, maybe because of accomplishment of the goals or the vision, or maybe the failure, or even sometimes with the conflict, or maybe sometimes the grief or the relief, we can say. Morled and Levin's model refers to the 5 generic roles, which gives maybe the members can be prospective member, where who decide whether what to commit, new members, those who are new to the norms and practices, learn the new norms and practices. Full member is who is thoroughly socialized and can negotiate more specific roles within the group. Marginal member, where the members are drift out of step with group life and may be socialized if they drift back again. And the ex members, where the members have left the group, but the previous commitment has an enduring effect on the group and the ex members. Now let's see the group structure. Group structure refers to the group size. The group role sizes can be small or medium or large. Role refers to the norms and their work roles or the membership roles. Then is there can be the blocking roles. Now the blocking roles can be it can be conscious, it can be like compromiser, aggressor, blocker, and comedians. So let's see in detail about all these roles. So these roles are, when Belbin says there are different team roles, they can be, the maintenance role can be refers to as the harmonizers or the gatekeepers or the compromisers, whereas the blocking roles who are working very aggressively or very aggressors, those who block the things, or maybe who just work on for the sake of that, they come and they work very in a very relaxed mode, not serious about the roles. So they are known to be as a comedians. So the details of these roles are which is given by the Belbins are, they can be the shaper, they can be the shaper is who actually plans the things, who are very very particular about the planning and all. Then there can be the implementers, they can be complementer finishers who inclines and worry about what is happening, what is not happening. The coordinators or the team workers and the resource investigators are those people who are defined to be as a people oriented roles, and there are certain cerebral roles which are known to be as a plant monitor, evaluator, and the specialist, who not only ignores, would not only lack drive and ability to inspire others, but also contribute, or maybe like the specialist who contribute, and they are very single-minded and self-starters and dedicated team members. So they are the few roles which are given by the Belbin as the team roles. So the norms are known to be as the rule of conduct, or the group members have recognized to maintain uniform behavior. The group norms are guidelines to accept the behavior which are established by the group and used to monitor the behavior of its members. The group norms are mainly on the basis of either on the performance norms, reward allocation norms, or the equity norms. When we say performance norm, it's all about how the employees are performing. The reward allocation is determining the rewards, and the equity are to suggest the rewards are distributed according to the members' contribution. There are 4 aspects of group identity, which is listed as interaction norms, which specify the people which comprise who communicate in a group. Then is they provide the cultural, then is status norms, and finally what happens to the group, who completes and takes later or falls. So group interaction is all about group interaction, TMS, that is transactive memory system, and centralization. Cohesiveness refers to the bonding of the group members and the desire to remain part of the group, and how the group works, how the group remains highly cohesive within the team members. So group performance is all about how it perform and effectively when alone, when it is a part of a group. Social facilitation is given, these are given by Elport, where it is given as a drive theory. Social inhibition is again a tendency about the individual. Social loafing is all about the key aspects about the reduced accountability, diffusion, lack of motivation, and free rider effects. So there are certain methods of group decisions where the group polarization affects the more substantial, where the group members are high social identity. There are certain information bias, which is also known as collective information sampling. There are group thinking, which refers to the mode of thinking of the people pursue their conscious. So there are certain signs of group thinking which are listed here in this slide, and overall we have seen how the OD is crucial for successful and business and various sectors, understanding the organizational dynamics, group dynamics, social facilitation, about the human naturally belonging to the groups, and how the practical implications can be happen to understand the group dynamics, which helps in improving the decision making and group effectiveness. Thank you all for today, and see you in the next lecture. Thank you so much. Namaste.